Hello, I'm David. I am a busker, and this is a series of videos talking about busking, that is, doing street performances for tips. It's gotten to the point where I'm able to actually make a living doing it, or somewhat of a living. It's getting closer and closer. I got into this when I lost a job. I had been playing the button accordion, which is the ones that the mariachis use, and Cajun players and the gondoliers in Italy. I had been doing it as a hobby, but I knew enough tunes. Well, basically I knew 3 tunes, okay. And I decided that, well, maybe I could make a little extra money while I'm unemployed. And so I started hanging out at the BART station. BART is the Bay Area Rapid Transit. And the reason I did that was because I only knew 3 songs. I figured with the passengers going past very quickly, they wouldn't know that I only knew 3 songs. I had gotten into playing the button accordion when I was a participant in what was called the San Francisco Free Folk Festival. That's an annual event where people do singing and dancing and playing instruments, and there's also some commerce going on where people can buy violins, strings, and sheet music and all that. This one gentleman was offering lessons in the button accordion, and I thought, what the heck? I'd heard of the instrument. I've actually seen it before. And they had these tiny little devices. They were really toys. And they gave them out to each of the people in the demonstration class. And they taught us this old man. This old man, he played one, he played knick-knack, all that. And we were able to learn it within a few minutes, and I was fascinated by it. I was so fascinated that the very next day I went out and bought a button accordion. And I was noodling around with it. And then, as I said, when I got unemployed, the company I was working for was sold, and I decided, well, until things get better, I'll collect unemployment and I'll play some music at the BART station. I did, and I was able to pull down, in a given, say, 2-hour period, I could pull down about $6 or $7. Wasn't a heck of a lot, but as time went on, it began to grow. And I got, at one point, about $15, so like $7.50 an hour. Well, that's pretty bad wages, but I was discovering that there were certain things I could do that would enhance the acceptance of me as a musician. For one thing, a lot of people, and I would say basically the middle class people, tend to be disdainful of people who perform in public, buskers, because they figure that buskers are homeless, or they are some kind of ne'er-do-wells who have something suspicious going on. And it is difficult among the middle class to dispel that image. One thing I've learned is that it's possible to actually figure out who is going to tip you and who won't, because younger people will tip you and elderly people will tip you. People who own their own businesses will often tip you, but the working class people, the middle class, usually doesn't. And I think that has to do with some disdain, because here they are working a 9-to-5 or an 8-to-5 job, and for lack of a better way of saying it, they bought into the system. And what that means is that they have a lot invested in that, and they feel very uncomfortable considering that there are other people who might be doing work a little differently and it might be more satisfying to them. And so I've found that I can almost always predict who won't tip me. But I've also been very surprised about who will. I get some of my better tips from homeless people, people who have money, and especially people who own their own businesses, and again, young people. It's a fascinating way of looking at people and their habits, and I have had a ball busking. It is one of my all-time favorite things. I have done radio and TV broadcasting. I have done public stand-up storytelling. I have done software development. In fact, I used to write medical software for human organ transplants. So I've done some interesting stuff. I've owned a restaurant. I've had a telephone call center business that I owned and I sold to Federal Express, which bought it to use as a prototype for their call center business. And of all the things I've done, even those things that made me a good deal of money, busking is still by far my favorite activities. I get a chance to meet people. I get a chance to stop and talk with them. I get a chance to have a very enjoyable time while I'm playing music. In these videos, I'll be talking about a lot of that and how I came to figure out how to make a decent amount of money, especially when I talk with other people who are saying, oh, this pitch isn't very good. A pitch meaning a place where you perform in public. And somebody may work a pitch and they might get $7 in an hour or something. I could work the same pitch and get 35 or 50. It happens. And in these videos, I'll be telling you how and why it has worked for me. I don't recommend that you take everything I'm saying 100% because there will be differences, but I will be telling you about what I did. You will have your own methods of accomplishing what you want to do. In my case, I'm going to be talking about the things that have worked for me as sort of a starter guideline to helping you get started as a career busker. Thanks for looking in on me. This is video number 1 of a whole bunch of videos to come. Thank you very much for spending time with me.